Okay, so why are we doing this? Why are we doing the recordings? Why are we doing the messages? Why today? Why now? Well, both myself and Heather have been feeling these energy pulses, these glitches, these pushes, these things, psychic attacks, vibrations coming in at us quite frequently. And I'm sitting here feeling hyper awkward. Like, I don't want to do this, but I know I want to do this, but I don't, but I do. And I've got all of this stuff happening at the same time. And why am I speaking before the channeling? Because so many people will see me coming on and I do the channeling, I do the information, and they see me in that, but they don't see me before, they don't see me after. And I have this thing inside of me that goes, am I ready to do this? Oh, is this really meant to be said? And I don't know. I don't know what's going to come through. I don't know what's going to be spoken because I'm here, but I'm not here. And it is time for transparency with a lot of different things in how we are, and not just me, not just Heather, but how we as a group of beings in the species known as mankind, we are vibrant beings. We have the innate knowing within all of us to be able to rise above things and vibrations, energy hits, pressures. We have that innate ability to rise above it. Why? Because we have that eternal being in us. We have that connection to the divine creator. We have that eternal spark within us that we are given at our first incarnation, and which we bring through with every incarnation until we come to the realization we don't have to do this karmic wheel anymore. We don't have to do this redoing, this reliving, this rebuilding, this re everything. And I don't know about you, but I've noticed over time that in the sort of early 2000s and the 90s, the 2000s, and then going into the 20s, it's there was always a reminder from the energies that would speak to us. Cryon was great at it, so was Adama, so was Safita. There we had the Saint Germain energy. We had Katumi. We had all of the beings that would communicate. They would always say, "Remember where you're from. Remember who. Remember who you are. Remember from your greatness, etc., etc." They stopped doing that. They don't do it as often. It's almost like we have to remember on our own without us being prodded all the time. But although they may have stopped saying that as much, there is an innateness in us. There is an awareness within us to remember who we are. We are divine beings. We are divine creatures. We are immortal beings. And we have the right to life. We have the right to be alive in this moment. So I'm here of service. I'm here in this seat in front of this camera, and I'm speaking. I'm not being forced to. I don't have a thing to my head. I don't have something at my back. I'm not being told you have to do this, but there is an urgency. So whatever's going to come through next, know that it comes from the higher energies with our best interests, with our best wherewithal at heart. I'm not putting my emphasis on it. I am not the one that's speaking. Because I'm going to go into breath, and I'm going to step aside. I'm going to let Safita or White Feather or the Great Council of many councils come through. I don't know yet I've got an inclination, because I can feel a vibration. I can feel their energy coming closer, but I don't know exactly who's going to speak. So I'm just going to step aside, going to breathe, and let's go for it. So I'll see you on the flip side. You ready, babe?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. We greet you. We are known in your tongue as white feather. We are a family, a community, an entity, a gathering of beings that reside within what is known, and again in your comprehension, as the second or the third realm of existence. We are intentionally close to source, to the divine, to the origins of being. And we come in again at this time due to the importance of that which is your constructed calendars, that which you run your existence by. You have forgotten how to look at all that is around you that has been supplied by the great spirits of Gaia, that which is the conglomerative collection of beings within that which you call your heavens. And no, we are not referring to the egotistical creation of that which you call your mythological gods. We're talking of the very beings of entities, the life-giving forces that are set upon this realm and many others like it from the divine creator to assist you in that which is your natural progress of life. You have forgotten how to tap into these intuitive ways because you are so set upon the construct that has been placed before you as the only pathway, and you have forgotten. It is not up to us to awaken you to these lost paths, but it is, shall we say, up to us to awaken you to the knowledge that there are paths lost, that you may revisit them. For when we last spoke in such a manner in your calendral year of the 2019, we gave you warnings, certain markers to observe. Some of these have come and gone, and there are those that are about to occur. Be it known that in the year 2025, it will give you 5 more years to that which is the 2030. From there, it will be a short 10 of your years, maybe 15, to reach to the 2040 and the 2045, which is the precursor to the years between 2046 and 2049, upon which your Earth will undergo great changes that we have already indicated in our previous communique with you. We note that there have been a handful that have observed and begun to align themselves into that which is the strategies and singularity of purpose to define themselves by the very rigorous and extreme changes that are required to enter into a place of disconnect, a place of peace, a place of restoration, a place of coming together, not under the dominance of another, but in freedom and unity of agreement. There is a large portion, however, that remain in a situation where they are either too fearful or they are just gullible and blind to what is occurring around them, to which they remain in a set paradigm, a set pathway that will lead them further and further into a state of complexity imprisonment. They will not, however, see it as that. They will see it as liberty. They will see it as freedom, a way to engage all aspects, to have what they desire at the expense of personal liberty, personal freedom, because they will have fallen into that which is the social dynamics or entrapment that you are all one, and that for one to be seen, all must be seen, because this is a mimicry. This is a copying of the spiritual aspect of knowing that you are all indeed one, from the greatest connection and impartation of life breath from the divine creator, and the very first separation that came about, the 12 separation points, and then the ongoing expressions of existence. What is beginning to occur in this realm is a mimicry, a mockery even, of this great experience. But again, it is not up to us to refrain from putting a reference of non-permission upon you. It is not up to us to say, stop, do not do this. It is up to us to show you, to give you fair warning. But that is all we are going to do, because we have already spoken, and we have said in many ways in many of the communiques that there is a time that is going to be required of you of that which is the innate and intuitive knowing of right for yourselves. Now, we're not going to say right and wrong, because what is right for us, you may define as incorrect and inability of function for yourselves. And so we're going to say it is up to all of you listening to our words that you must begin to go into the very frequency of your breath, of your beingness, and begin to define for oneself the path that you choose to walk upon. And herein lies many ways the trickery that has been played out before you, because many believe they are walking on a pathway of light, a pathway of redemption, a pathway of reconciliation, and yet they are on the path of condemnation. They are on the path of entrapment. They are on the path of imprisonment, self-imprisonment, self-collective condemnation and destruction, because they totally believe what they are told without applying within themselves the age-old knowing of intuitive precursoring. What do we mean by this? When you are given a truth, do you hold it? Do you allow it to sit before you, to permeate with light and life within itself, to bring forth an utterance of its own truth before you consume it, before you take it within yourself and say, yes, I will solely and wholly consume this as my truth? Or do you, as a wise being would normally do, place it on the shelf and observe it and give it time to breathe, give it time to grow, give it time to present itself in its natural form? In other words, is there death in that truth? Is there lies in that truth? Is there misinformation in that truth? And if you allow it to sit for a while, you will see the separation as a curdling begin to happen. You will see the truth separate from what is untruth. And you'll be able to take what is truth and re-examine it and see if it fits the vibration of your intuitive knowing. And you'll be able to reject that which is now exposing itself as half-truths, as lies, as deception, as empty fillers of words, of distraction. You recently have undergone a great event, so to speak, on your realm. And this is why, before our communication, the council came through and they spoke. And they did not relate to you great revelation, but perhaps acted more as the precursor of a reminder that certain things are presented into your realm to act as awakeners, alerts, red flags, green flags, for you to begin to observe what is going on. And yes, they brought your attention to that which is or was the compression of energy, because what had occurred was the fact that there was going to be this event. And what happened was the media, be it social media, be it media from that which is your news agencies, your artificial information agencies, all were pointing towards a reference point. And they worked, should we say, the energy, the focus point, to create a yes, no, following, not following, but it was a focal of energy, a funneling of energy that compressed and compounded and interfered with your own vibration. And this spread like a wildfire across your realm because it was such a concerted energy emphasis. And yet, in reality, all that it was doing was bringing your attention to a certain timeline, to engage you into a place of distraction, engage you into a place of innate defunctness. You became so focused on it that you were either going to be uninterested and focusing on your uninterestedness. You were going to not watch it, and you were doing everything in your power not to be brought into this, not to be caught up into it. So you were creating an energy not to do something, but it was still energy. Then there was the other camp that was so focused on being involved, of observing, of flying into places and being in a situation that you may so observe it. And many of you thus observed what you believe were flying saucers, unidentified flying objects. You believe you saw spaceships and other entities in and around this eclipse. And others of you were so focused on not observing that you shut your energy off completely to anything and everything that could possibly impinge against you. And you missed out on something. And others of you, because you were so focused on what they wanted you to see, you missed out on something. What is the something that was eluded by many of you? And yet, for a small portion of you, there was this awareness that if I can keep my balance within this paradigm, if I can stop myself from swinging to one extreme or the other and focus in on that which was the 15 degrees of this event, I might be able to tune into what is truly occurring. Now, there have been spokespeople. Sometimes they have been pushed into the position of revealing, of explaining, of bringing explanation of the event by being able to put forward multiple event occurrences of historic notions, or bringing in that which is being fed out by your different agencies of the occurrence that is at hand. But in reality, what it is, this thing that was missed by many of you, is the peace. That definitive awareness that this event at hand was just there to distract you, one way or the other, from the knowledge that you are at the pinnacle point of change. That this year that you call the 2024 or 2024 is a year that is in upheaval, a year that is in the twisting and the writhing of, shall we say, for some, the death throes, before they are cast away, before they are left to wither and disappear, disintegrate on the pathway of the journey of this new digitalization world. Then there is also this awareness that in this writhing, in these death throes, is a birthing, a coming forth of something else. And it is in many ways not for this year, but it is the contractions of a state of breaking the waters to usher into a life form for the oncoming 2025, 26, and 27, leading you into, as we have already enunciated back in your 2019, of the year 2030. And you see what is occurring is the twisting of the many-headed snake, the hydra, the half dragon, half snake, the issuance of this being is coming into perhaps not a physicality of being where you will see such a creature walking upon the surface of your realm, but you will see it in the mythological, you will see it in the pictorial, in the visionary, in the perceiving of what is occurring in front of you. You will see nation rising up, and the nation will have many seemingly heads that are dictating and uttering words. These words spewing out over you are words that will do one of two things, maybe more. But it will either fire you up into such a state where you will want to rage against everything that you see, or it will dull you down to where you become complicit and complacent about everything that you see, taste, hear, observe. It will become nothing to you. You will become almost what we would call alive and yet dead. And the others, we will call them dead yet alive, because their functioning in both places will not be of their own innate living soul. It is a structure that has been birthed and switched within them due to what they are observing in the visual, in the auditory, in the observing and the absorption of energy. Then within this, there is yet a third and a fourth group. And these will observe what is going on, but because they are already in a place where they are taking stock, where they are looking at what is occurring around them. They are not, shall we say, infected with the hyper energy of this place, of this realm. They have not taken within themselves this artificial intelligence. They have not absorbed this connecting of the brain, of the physicality, into a realm that is not of their making. And they are going to be affected, yes, but they are going to be affected thus. They are going to see the breaking down. They are going to see the two camps of the fiery and the dull. And yet they are going to recognize that these two camps are one and the same, because they are dead yet living, living yet dead. There is nothing within them that remotely identifies as the eternal being that is connected to the divine creator. Now, this is not going to be you wake up today, you sleep today, you wake up tomorrow, and all this will be in play. No, it will happen over a set time allotted event timeline, but it will be within full spectrum. By 2027, you will see a multitude of beings acting as if they have no control over their thoughts, emotions, feelings. Many of them will indeed be, shall we say, transponders. They will record, without being aware of it, conversations that they hear. And this is how they will be able to, how do we say this within your, they will be the infiltrators within the resistance. And yet you will not realize it. What is this resistance I speak of? It is those who are aware that they are the Terran, the man, the woman. They are the beings of life. This realm no longer wants or desires to have living beings. But the realm that it is sitting upon, in other words, the truth, the vibration of life, wants the living beings. And herein lies this deceptivity, because the illusion that you are living in at the moment, this is what we have inferred from many of our messages. This is the separation. This is the event of the 2025. This is when you will begin to see the illusion, the glove, the dream, the matrix being presented in more of a realistic mannerism. Already you have seen it, but for some reason, what the eye sees, the brain is refusing to compute. Or perhaps it is the brain is computing it, but there is a part of you that refuses to accept, because if you accept what you are seeing, hearing, noting, it will mean that everything around you no longer is true. It is but an illusion, and you are nothing more, nothing less than part of a game. Beloved Terrans, those of mankind that hear this voice, knowing that you are not of this realm, not of this world, you happen to be in it because you have somehow managed to become awake in a realm of complexity of holographic illusionary diagrams. This in itself is creating within you almost a personality complex of separation, for you are seeing before you what can possibly not be true. Yet within you, everything is telling you, you do not belong here. This is not the realm that you were created to fit within and function within, and yet somehow You are here. And so within you creates this tearing. You are not crazy. You do not need to be, shall we say, medicated. However, we will incur a warning here. If you are in a realm where you are medicated for whatever reason, you do not remove based on what we say. You must find your truth. Because if you don't, we are not responsible for that which is the result. You must heed your intuitive knowing, because the overwhelm of waking to that which is the truth for many, even of strong-mindedness, can be too much. And this is why they fall into the group that says, yes, it could be true, but no, it's not. No, it's not true, but it could be true. And they sit on the fence. You have this year, in the remaindering of that which is your 24, before the 25 arrives, which will then give dominance over all functionality. For already there are many that are unaware that this world that you live in is driving you like a herd of animals through a very small chute. And to enter into the chute, to enter into what they say is the productive arena, the grass of that is green, the land of milk and honey, where you will have everything you need, but all you need to do is accept the digitalization of who you are. Be wary. Be wary when they say to you, become digitalized. First, it will become with your exchanging, your bartering. Then it will become everything that you own or believe you own. Then it will become you, your personality, the personality and the beingness of your offspring. Everything will be funneled and functioning into this realm of digitalization. Then, dear ones, you, the avatar, will no longer be necessary. For they will have taken everything they require to input into that which is the digitalization, which is where this realm is heading. Come the year 2035, you will find it very difficult to find anything of solidness that remains of the realm that you are aware of today. And then you will begin to feel the birth pangs becoming faster and faster for the change that will occur upon the surface of your realm. And many will pass through this, others will be consumed by it. But we will not give you great detail as to what will occur in the transforming of this realm, because that you will find later. We will reveal this in later communications when you are ready to observe that. But just know it will reform and rebuild the surface of what you call Earth. You are at a place where in the coming years, much is going to be required of the consciousness of who you are. Are you willing? Are you eager? Do you simply see the simplistic need for it to be digitalized? How easy it is to take the complexity of functioning in a way that you physically go somewhere, that you physically take control of that vehicle that you are utilizing in travel purposes. Do you see how in the keeping of the functionality, you remain individual? You remain in that which is the beingness of being alive. When you hand that over to the digitalization world, you become bits, you become bytes, you become light that travels around a conductive flute of energy contained within energy, contained within energy. And this is not energy known to you as the divine, as the creative energy. No, this energy is what we will call dirty electricity, to give you a concept to grasp. It is that which will recycle you and recycle you. And even when you become in the consciousness now that you have placed within this digitalization, so far apart from your trueness of immortal being, you still are aware that you are recycling, and you become wearisome to the point of complete and utter, how do we say this, breaking of the mind. They will not release you, because your eternal spirit, your eternal energy empowers that which they have created, that which they are utilizing. Now, who are they? They are the beings that we have, and many others have spoken to you about. These beings that come from the shadows, that are what we will call the enemy of your soul, the enemy of the divine. You would say to me, how can the enemy of the divine be an enemy anyway? Because there is no good, there is no evil. Yes, there is only the oneness. And yet we would say, where there is light, there is always a shadow. And this is symbolized in many things of your world, in your existence. And yes, while the light consumes all that it is around, and I use the word consume because when darkness comes upon it, it consumes that darkness in a victory and yes, vicious, but in a victorious way. It will not allow the darkness to overcome it. And that is a battle. It is a warfare that continues in every aspect of that which is the greater and outer cosmos. Every part of what you believe is space, is the cosmos, is in itself part of a greater, more complex, more divine organism than you have ever conceived. Now, that may bring to many of you a separation in your mind concept. If you allow yourself to see what it is that you are, your body, the avatar, the meat suit, the being that you exist in is made up of a multitude of cells. Yet one cell, even if you were to separate it, would multiply itself to try and replenish what it's been separated from. And yet, even in that glorious creation, there is darkness. There are some cells that, once separated, no longer are happy with that separation, and so wish to devour everything around it so it can consume what it believes it has been ejected from. And you call this, in your terminology, a cancerous cell. Now, we are not saying that for all, we will use your word, eternity, there is going to be an ongoing battle. That battle is up to a certain level. That warfare is continuing up to a certain level. And then there is just light, just life. And that is where we are all returning. Eventually, we will all be in that oneness. But right now, in this realm, what the shadow or cancerous cell of the divine, the mimic of the divine, is attempting to do is use great trickery, magic, smoke, and deflection. It is attempting to block from your knowing, from your consciousness, the reality of who you truly are, by saying to you, you are not man, you are not mankind, you are human. Oh, you are not man and you are not woman, you are genderless. Oh, you are not this and not that, you are just a being. You are a blob, you are just cells, you are just a heartbeat, you are just a thought, you are just a... Until they have broken you down, you are faceless, they will try and tell you. There is nothing to see, and so you must be absorbed into the greater complex that they call the cloud. The cloud is nothing more, and many of you are aware of this, it is just computer banks. Data hungry computer banks. And they are filling it up with everything you put into it. Every memory, every photograph, every recording, every like, dislike, every story, every letter, every communication that expresses you in one way or the other. It is collecting, it is collating. And when you are ready in this realm to pass on to the next realm, it will again reprogram it so that your energy believes it is to incarnate back into this realm. And again, it starts the process of taking your consciousness and putting it into a lifeless place of being, but tricking you into thinking you are alive, you are functioning in a body that is to serve you. All this is happening as we speak, but it is not made known by many. But as you go forward, do not so much look at the upcoming regional things like elections and wars and things like this, because these are the distractions. If every single one listening to my voice was to turn off all of the things that would give them the information about these regional events and go outside and plow the land, go outside and build constructs to tap into the natural elements to power their own domicile. If every single person was to begin to realize that they are not persons, they are not personalities, but they are living beings, that they are shedding the painting that has been placed upon them as a personage, that they are shedding that skin that is an illusion to who they truly are, and begin to reconnect into the very vibration of the true earth and the true sky and the true plants, and bring that back into their reality, they will begin to see a life worth living again. But they need to make a choice. They need to separate themselves from the distraction of what is being played at them deliberately to bring them into a place where they no longer feel for what they truly feel, but they feel what they are programmed to feel. Now, we, White Feather, have come to truly speak in this manner because it is no longer time for innuendos and softly, softly. No, rather it is time to show you in plain verse what is upon you. For many rely on religious texts to say, in the last days, this and this is going to happen. Oh, but this and this should happen too. If we were to tell you that from the very first chapter of what you would refer to as your New Testament or the books of the disciples to the very apparent last book, they are all happening coherently in conjunction with each other at the same time. It is not just your revelations happening all by itself. No, it is happening in the middle of the parables. It is happening in your epistles. It is happening in your various stories and revelations of inward discussion. And it is in the hidden stories, the hidden books that are not included in this religious text. These would make it even more apparent as to what is truly occurring at this moment. You are not far off the end day. No, we do not say it is going to happen tomorrow, and so therefore nothing to do today. But we would give you 15, 20 years, 30 at the max. That is not a long time. But it is enough for you to look again at where you are investing your time and energy by being so caught up with your political leaders, your regional leaders, your spiritual gurus that are all telling you to be calm, to hold the space, etc., etc. Who are you holding it for? What are you holding it for? These next markers, you have 2025, that will be a year that defines for you many things that will begin to be occurring in your oncoming years, because it will set for you the leadership that is chosen the year previously, i.e. what you choose in this year will cement what is ongoing in your future years. And I do not care if you are in the Americas or in any other state of existence upon your realm. What you choose this year cements ongoing. So whether it is regional or whether it is global for your little area, you must be wise in what you say yes to. Now would be a good time for everybody to forget how to write, how to put their mark, and remember how to dig in the soil, how to plant, how to irrigate, how to teach by word and deed, by example. Now would be a good time to go to the elders of the community and say, how did you run a cylinder? How did you rewire an engine? How did you change a tire? How did you use a wrench? How do you use a drill without power? How do you do this? How do you do that? For many of you, it is time to remember a life without gadgets. Because we are not saying they are suddenly going to disappear. No, in fact, what will happen is there will become an influx of more gadgets, more glittery toys to play with, to get you more absorbed into an outside arena, into an outside way of connection, into an outside way where you do not pay attention to the road you are traveling, because you are too absorbed by the circus that is playing outside. "2025 is a year to watch. Watch where the hammer falls. Watch where things begin to unfold, thread by thread. Take yourself from 2025 to the 2030, and you will have noted that in that 5-year gap, everything that was free, freedom to speak, freedom to do this, freedom to do that, has now been corralled. And you are free to do it as long as you abide by certain rules, by certain dimensions of being. And if you don't, there are consequences. 2034 and 2035, again, are years that you are going to make note of. For these are a pivotal year. They are years that you will begin to mourn. Mourn something that you left behind and feel you cannot regain it. By 2040, 2042, you will begin to see, especially if you have remained in the complexity of the machinery of what you would call your citadels, you will begin to see rebellion. But it will not be rebellion from outside, from the communities that have extradited themselves away and begun to create and manifest in great things, because they have become what we will term the organics. No, you see this rebellion from within. For even though in the machinery, it will begin to rebel against its makers. It will begin to rebel against what is occurring within the construct of this digitalization. Because do not forget that digitalization needs to be remained powered by the consciousness of the many that has been captured, because the consciousness is connected to the immortal part. And that, rather than the physical bodies, is what is powering the digitalization, the immortal soul, the immortal, let us just call it the brain set, the consciousness. Why do you think that which is artificial is always copied from what is real? Because it must have a pattern, a blueprint with which to be impressed upon. But what happens when the blueprint is no longer required, no longer necessary? The coming years are going to be subtly and very dangerously, shall we say, changed. It is a time of choice, a time, my living souls, immortal beings, to decide whether you are truly connected to the divine creator or you are just playing with what you feel is true. We white feather do not come through very often, but when we come, it is to impart to you truths that you may not wish to hear, truths that you may feel are impractical, illusionary, fairy tale. But we have seen what occurs here occur in other places within the greater realms, in the different quarters and different spectrum vibrational existences in many other places. And we have seen what happens when people rise up and begin to take a conscious, considerable, real look at themselves as living beings, and when they don't. And so we say to those listening, it is time. It is not time to wake up. You should already be awake. But it is time to consider what path you are walking. It is the time of choice. It is the time to be aware, to gather for yourself the various deposits of information, to hold dear to yourself, to educate yourself in the oncoming years. We say this not to terrify you. We say this not to bring fear, but to educate you. Because even if we did not speak it, it would still come about. But you would be blind. And then you could truthfully hold all higher consciousness accountable. And when you realize that when we are in a space like we are now, and you are receiving information via a communicator, via a channel, you are receiving information from outside your realm. How does this happen and why? Perhaps it is the consciousness of the various groups that are cheerleading you on, who have been through this, who have come in from a place where they are able to observe not only their own existence, but also yours, to give you an overview and oversight of what you are potentially walking into. You must come to realize, or we hope that you come to realize, that when you are receiving this information, it is not coming from a place of mental construction. It is coming from a place where, if we can put it in the rudimentary terms, there is a hose pipe or a voice box or a electronic communication that is coming from one place and tapping into the various parts of this brain, and thus using the mouthpiece to give auditory sound to what we are communicating to you, thus folding in, manipulating the time frequency so that you can receive this in real time. You may ask, but why the pauses? Why at times the pauses? Because just like with any other, quite frankly, machinery, if you pour too much of a higher voltage through it, it will blow a fuse. Likewise, with the vessel of that which is this being, we can input certain amounts of energy before the level reaches to overload. Because it is not just the words that we are bringing through, it is the feeling, the emotiveness, the energy. So we have various inputs. It is up to you to take this information and to work with it. And so what we would say to you, again, these markers, 2024, a year of choice. What you decide today, tomorrow, this year, will definitively affect 2025 onwards. This will be the deciding factor, the glue in the mix. Placing in the next shoots for the information to go through, for the energy to bypass what needs to be bypassed, etc., to achieve the goal of encapturing the souls of mankind, of creating a realm of obedient, mindless creatures, too scared to say no, too scared to do something different, because they will be judged by media, judged by people who say they are their friends, judged by family. So they toe the line because they don't want to lose out on the benefits of life. What is the benefit of life other than breath and the ability to manifest? You do not need to be judged and marked on your words and deeds by others who say you are worth 2 points or 20 points or -5. This is what your world is coming to. And some nations have already installed this and are about to install it, because it is the end goal of the overseers. And now the disappointing thing is that this goal of the overseers of digitalization will occur. It will go through. You will see it being performed in front of you. Why? Why can we not stop it, you say? It must occur in order for those who choose not to go down that road to create their own truth, their own realm in peace, in honor, to separate themselves out and create a world, a realm of reality. But whilst you are so bought into something that feeds you the dopamine and the serotonin that creates within you the feeling of being elated and satisfied, you will not do anything to change that. So we can say to you, follow the markers, begin to observe. From 2025, you have 2030. 2031 and 2032 will be years where you will see the caging of many. You will go down to 2034 and 2035, and you will see changes happening that you only dreamed about or watched in movies. You will see a global or unilateral ruling, made manifest based on their established tentacle work that they are doing at this moment. And that Hydra will be in full mode by that time. But not only will it be spewing out words to keep you dull, it will also have another part of it that will be observing any delinquency from what they tell you to do. So if you become alert and you become aware that something's not right, they will target you to bring you back into play or extinguish you. There is much that is coming. When you come to the year 2040, there will be many that have already left this plane. By 2042, there will be such shortages. By 2045, there will be tremors, there will be earth changes. And 2046 through to 2049 to 2050, your world will no longer be anything as you have assumed that it looks like. And we will not go further than that because we do not see it. We do not see past there. Does not mean that it does not exist. It just means that we are not permitted to see beyond there at this time. So the choice is yours. As we've always said, we are here only to give you an overview, insight, choice, to show the chess table, the chessboard for what it truly is, the game that is being played, the deception that is being thrown about you so easily, and you are absorbing it because you see that it has a portion of truth. But put that on the shelf and let the truth curdle away from what is untrue. And begin to see yourselves as you truly are. And we will end with a reminder that you are not who you believe you are. Perhaps it is time to shed the outer skin, to shed the illusionary skin, mindset, belief that you are who you think you are, and to begin to delve deeper into that which is the intuitive knowing, to separate yourself from all of that which feeds your ego, feeds your baser knowledge, your baser tastes, and to withdraw to oneself and go into the definitiveness of your divine nature and to see who you are. And my biggest challenge would be to those who have a religious attunement. And I do not care which religion that you would tick the box with, whether it is the Muslim, to the Christian, to the vegan, to the atheist, to Buddhist. We do not care. When you shed that and go into the truestness of who you are, you will discover something completely different. But the biggest thing that you must walk away from, the biggest belief that you must walk away from, is that you are okay, that you are human. You're a man, you're a woman, you are who you are. You're okay. Walk away from that, leave that behind, and come to yourself in truestness and ask yourself, who are you? And why are you? Because now is the time to discover this. Now is the time to choose the path that you are going to walk on. And we are white feather. And we are within a realm that is outside of yours. But we speak to you because we care. We are white feather. Go in peace.